All right, folks, what is going on? Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. You made it to the end of the week. That is awesome. Welcome to the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern football and Atlanta Falcons football. And it's just been a pretty good week overall. This has been awesome, and I hope everything worked out for you guys as well. Hopefully you had a fantastic week going into a fantastic weekend. And today we're going to talk more Georgia Southern football. We're going to double down, kind of extend the conversation to what we had last episode, and we're going to get into that now. Before I get into anything, I want to give you guys a PSA. As far as you guys on the podcast side of things, I want to let you guys know, like right now, there's an issue. It may not be an issue for this episode, but the last episode did not upload on iTunes or Google Podcasts. I don't know why. It's something going on with Anchor, because Anchor is my base of where I have my podcast. That's where the podcast, originates from, and it spreads out to other areas of other podcast platforms. For some reason, it went to Anchor, it went to Spotify. I mean, obviously, I put it on Anchor, then it goes to Spotify. But from there, it did not go to Google or iTunes. So if you're looking for the podcast, I highly recommend you go to Anchor or go to Spotify. I mean, Spotify is usually on people's phone already. Is just as accessible to as the iTunes or the Google platform. Stitcher seems fine. I think Stitcher is okay too, but for some reason, it just seems like it's not reaching out past Spotify. And to be honest with you, I just recommend just go ahead and go to Spotify or Anchor to get the podcast if you want to listen, because for some reason it's just not reaching out to the iTunes side of things. And I hopefully this episode goes to iTunes and Google Play. So I just want to let you guys know about that. The guys, if you're over there on YouTube, everything is fine. Welcome if this is your first time here. This is the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here we talk about Georgia Southern football and Atlanta Falcons football. Like I said, if this is your first time here on the YouTube side of things, hit that like button, share this video. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, if you are on the podcast side of things, subscribe to that as well. Give me 5 stars. Oh, excuse me, I had to sneeze. Sorry about that. Subscribe to the channel. Or subscribe to the podcast as well, because once I put this up on the podcast, if you're subscribed, it should automatically download for you if it has that option. So that is awesome. Listenership is up. I really appreciate it. Viewership is up on YouTube. Got new subscribers. Thanks to everyone who has been subscribing. You are helping this grow, and I really appreciate it. I cannot do this without you guys. Like I said, let's go ahead and get into this. This is not going to be a really long episode. I'm not going to hold you guys over. Usually on Fridays, I try not to draw the episode out too long, because I know you're ready to go on about your business, get your Friday started, and get everything in order for your weekend. So I want to just talk about something that's kind of an extension of last episode, because the last episode was like really cool. I really enjoyed doing that episode. All the accolades, the new guys that signed and committed to Georgia Southern. Jared Binko's got his award, the Eric Russell Spirit Award. It's just awesome. One thing I noticed that Coach Clay Helton did talk about in his press conference with the media is he said with the whole situation with going across every county of the state of Georgia, there are a lot of hidden gems in the state of Georgia. And this is a very strategic by Coach Clay Helton, putting this together, getting his staff out there in the state of Georgia, touching every county, which I still think is phenomenal to this day. It's a strategic move. It's a strategic power move, because like I touched on it a little bit yesterday. This build relationships. This build memories. When they see guys that's coming from Statesboro, going all the way to northwest Georgia, or when they go into southwest Georgia, or when they going all the way down in the Brunswick area, Columbus, South Carolina, the Columbus, Georgia area. That means a lot, not only to the kids, but definitely the coaches, because they know they have a prominent college looking at their school, and they don't feel left out because every county has been touched. I think this is a big move for Coach Clay Helton to see, like, all these other schools in the Sun Belt, all these teams that are in the state of Georgia, they've been put on notice that Coach Clay Helton has not only come to the Sun Belt and establish himself, he's coming into the state of Georgia and establishing himself. I said this earlier this year and late last year. I would not be surprised if Georgia Southern becomes the second most, the second, I can't even say it right. Let me make sure if I say it. Let me back up a little bit. I would not be surprised if Georgia Southern becomes number 2, the second best college in the state of Georgia behind UGA. Georgia Tech is not known for their football like that. Kennesaw State is doing their thing. Valdosta State do what they do. Mercer's pretty good. Savannah State is actually coming up. I love to see I love what I see at Savannah State, and that's my hometown. And my uncle, God rest his soul, passed away last year. He was a professor at Savannah State, so I did have some type of, attachment to the school. But that team in Atlanta, not Tech, but the other one, the Panthers, what has happened here with Coach Helton and what he's done is put everybody on notice. I just don't think that they'll be able to compete unless they try to mimic what he does. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try to mimic it. You will probably see, Georgia State, or you probably see UGA. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if UGA even tried it. They got the resources. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried it. Just to try to, stay on par with the aggressive power, so strategic power move that Coach Clay Helton put together just now. I would not be surprised you see other teams in the Sun Belt try this. Troy, I doubt if they go to every spot in Alabama, but you never know. You never know what they might do. South Alabama might try it. You don't know what the Chanticleers may try to do. You never know what these other teams is coming in. So shout out to James Madison. They're supposed to be into the Sun Belt this year, but you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know what these teams may try. Marshall may even try to do their thing in West Virginia. You just never know. Hell, this may even resonate to other conferences. Like I said, UGA, Kennesaw State. You just don't know what they may try to do. I've never heard of a school doing it. Maybe it's happened before. I never heard of a program doing what Clay Helton's done, trying to find hidden gems in the state of Georgia. And he said there's plenty of guys, and he said there's guys that they're trying to pull for 2023, 2024. So you got sophomores that are being looked at by Coach Helton and company. That's a really big, that is so cool. Trying to get some of these guys in here and get down, get with the Georgia Southern lifestyle and the program and the family oriented thing. That's really cool, because that means a lot. That means a lot that getting these kids acclimated and have these guys learning and figuring out what Georgia Southern is all about, and getting these guys together to become an Eagle, to be a GS man, to be a blue collar worker, or just implementing their side of being a blue collar worker to what this blue collar foundation is about. It's a beautiful thing, and I think this will resonate throughout this entire tenure of Coach Helton. No matter, no telling how long it'll be, and it could be a lasting tradition to where other coaches behind him, if they do, if other coaches that come behind him, which hopefully that's a long time from now, that would try to implement something of this nature. I'm ecstatic about it. Honestly, I love this. I love it. This is something, and when you can look at the fruits of their labor, To an extent. I don't think you're really going to see it till next year, because it's going to be really interesting with the recruiting classes next year. But you kind of see what it is now when Coach Helton came in, 3 months ago. I mean, we got some excellent athletes, got a couple phenomenal wide receivers, good quarterbacks that came in. We got a ESPN 300 running back. You know what I mean? A 300 this ranked 300 in ESPN running back. And I know some people. I was talking to some guys on the Discord, and they said, "Well, he had an injury." Yeah, I mean that's fine. Injuries happen. Bounce back. They said he bounced back from that injury, and he still started to show the type of player that he was. Decommitted from Florida. Once they realized that he, got his legs up under him and he was ready to run that ball again, that's when you saw the Texases and the LSUs and the Floridas and the Mississippi States and, all those, they started to come in after the fact. But Coach Helton, they came up here, his team, not his team, but family, that running back came in. They gave Georgia Southern a shot. They came in, see what the lifestyle is like. They came in and they saw what the campus is like. And they were blown away by what they got. What they saw. And it's just awesome. It's just flat out awesome with what they had, put together. And that's the beautiful thing about it. When you are able to wow a team or, wow a family, to get them to come in and find a way to call this place home. That's a beautiful thing, man. Terrence Gibbs just took a shot on us. Came up to Georgia Southern, him and his family came in. And they walked away thinking about, hey, this might be the school for us. He committed. Another person who did the same thing, Ashton Whitner, he said himself, he took a shot and came down. And the moment he came here, he loved what he saw, and he decided to commit. That's just a big kudos to the staff of pushing hard, getting these guys together, and presenting their case of why you should play football in Statesboro. When you look at all the defensive backs that are coming in, it's Coach Whitley, man. You look at a guy like Terrence Gibbs, Dalen Cobb. Well, not Dalen Cobb. Well, not Dalen Cobb. He's a wide receiver. I want to take that back. Who's the other running back that we had? That I think it's Omar. Oh man, there it is, Omari Arnold. Robert Edwards. When you got these type of guys that are coming in here, a part of that, and I know definitely the Terrence Gibbs, that was the running backs coach. Running back coach Merritt. Getting them together to show him that, hey, this is the place you need to be. When you look at these quarterbacks, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I fully believe the Kyle Van Trees, the Zach Rosemans, David Dallas, those three quarterbacks that came here, that's all Coach Helton. Getting these guys in here to, want to play, want to compete, and want to be the best that they can at that position. The quarterback is not, quarterback is a one-man show. But to get a Kyle Van Trees here, then you get the other guys behind them to learn. They don't have to do something right. They don't have to do anything right away. And you teach them how to be a quarterback. It's great. Dalen Cobb from Washington, Georgia, I just mentioned him earlier. And this is another thing that I didn't even know this. 19 of the 26 guys that was recruited from the state of Georgia. That's phenomenal. You know, that's pretty cool. And I think 22. I may be wrong, but I'm gonna say this. This could be wrong. You could dispute it. I think it's 22 out of the 26 that were recruited. They're they're straight high schoolers. So we have a balance of where we have a lot of young guys, and we still got a lot of the veterans that are 6, 7 year seniors going to be here as well. So you got a balance of both where those guys can show these guys the ropes. It's great. It's absolutely great. And like I said, for them to continue to pull this 1 year, do this in 3 months, imagine what it's like when he has a whole year of recruiting. I would not be surprised, I'm just going to say this, within 2 years, in 2 years, we get a 5-star recruit here. I would not be surprised that we get a 5-star recruit to commit. Because we just got the 4-star. It was ESPN recruit 300. ESPN 300 recruit. He was ranked number 4. Look, Terrence Gibbs was ranked number 14th running back in the nation. Based by ESPN.com. How many other kids you think that are in the state of Georgia, even though he's from Winter Park, Florida, which is, that's awesome. By how many other guys you know that you may think in the state of Georgia that you could find hidden gems that may be 2, 3. Let's not even talk about the 2 or 3 stars. Nobody may not know about these kids because nobody's going to some of these counties. And they're able to pull some of these guys because they already have that relationship. They already have that pipeline throughout the state. And you may find a kid that may not have been, that probably been overlooked, never got a chance. No other schools, no other colleges go to their school. They're just very talented, but nobody's really seeing them because their county or their high school's been overlooked. But you got Georgia Southern going into these counties. And showing a presence. Coach Will Harris said this on the live show, Hell Southern Live, that he was amazed by how big of a name that Georgia Southern is in the state of Georgia. He walks in there with that GS jacket or a hat, whatever shirt he had on, and it was not one person that he that he couldn't run into at all these high schools. I think he went like 20 or 25 counties. He says there's not one place that the person either knew somebody that went to Georgia Southern, they was an alum of Georgia Southern, or they knew that somebody, a family member that went to Georgia Southern, or they was alum themselves. This brand sells itself. And have good people in order, good people in place, I would say. Good people in place to push what they have as far as a brand that sells themselves. The only thing we need to know now is what's going to happen when these guys implement what they want on the field, because finding hidden gems is just one thing. Finding recruits is just one thing. But getting these guys out there training and practicing, getting these guys ready for real contact, getting these guys ready for spring practice and spring ball, getting ready for that first game of the season. That's where that's where it's really going to show. And as of right now, it looks like these guys are serious about winning football games. And there's nothing I've never seen here at Georgia Southern. And I've been watching Georgia Southern since the late 80s, early 90s. And I've never seen nothing like this at Georgia Southern. There's a lot of tradition here. There's a lot of history, a lot of greatness within Georgia Southern football. It's a lot of it. But I've never seen something like this. This is like the next chapter of what this team is about. And I can't wait to see how this plays out. Just a plethora of great recruits that just came in. A plethora of veterans that's been here is going to be hanging around. That's going to play another year. Great to see a veteran quarterback come in from another school, from Buffalo. 4-star recruit, top 300 based on ESPN rankings. What more could you ask for? A lot of people sat here and said that this whole thing was a PR stunt. It was a publicity move. A lot of USC fans are still trying to clown Clay Helton. Now look, listen. We're working over here. They're working over here. I'm working over here. And it's just a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful thing to see. That's going to be my time for this Friday. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, I don't know how the iTunes and the Google podcasting is working. If it's up, great. It's something pretty much beyond my control. I'm pretty sure it's a technical issue. I did get in contact with Anchor. Sometimes they basically said sometimes the feed just don't go out to those platforms, or it takes a while. So I highly recommend you guys to go ahead and go to Anchor or Spotify to get this podcast. If you're on the YouTube side of things, thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button, share this video. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you are on the podcast side, like I said, then you would know that you'll get the episodes if you're on Anchor or Spotify. Now, you can wait for iTunes. That's great. You can wait for Google Podcasts. I'm not telling you to get off of those platforms because they're great platforms. But right now, the podcast is not updating. I don't know what's going on there, but we are working on it. I'm working on it on my end. I can say we. There is no we. This is a one-man show, believe it or not. It is a one-man show. All right, I don't want to hold you guys over any longer. Like I said, it's Friday. I try to make this as short as possible, but I'm over the 20-minute mark, but it's cool. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed this. I'm going to get up out of here. Enjoy your weekend. You guys take it easy. You guys be blessed. I will be back on Monday. I'm not going to be doing I may do something on the YouTube channel, and I will be doing something on my secondary channel, which is the VF Cast on YouTube. That's my gaming channel. If you're interested, type in VF Cast. I will pop right on up. All right, I am out of here. You guys take it easy. You guys be blessed. Enjoy your weekend. Peace.